Hey guys, Roman and Reaper here. So yeah, as you can see, I'm outside the cinema. It's pissing it down with rain, prime weather for the cinema. And as you can see by my t-shirt, I'm about to head on and see the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe film. Yep, a very highly anticipated one at that, The Marvels. For if you gave me a penny for each time a Captain Marvel sequel flopped this year, I'd have 2 pennies, which isn't a lot, but it's weird. It's happening twice. But yeah, go ahead and see The Marvels. Yeah, it looks fun. Looks like it'll be a bit of fun, and yeah. I sort of, revisited everything sort of connected to this and prep for it. So I feel like I'm ready. I'm just expecting, a fun little cosmic body swap colony. Hopefully it delivers on that, and hopefully I just have a bit of fun. So yeah, but it's not going to take too much longer. I'm going to head in, get my snack, get my seat, and go see The Marvels. So yeah, I've got my popcorn here and a red frozen Fanta, Captain Marvel suit colours, ready to go higher, further, faster. Glad to see everyone's anticipating the latest MCU event. So yeah, the Marvels, just got back from seeing it. Yeah, I mean it was kind of interesting. This I rewatched the first Captain Marvel a couple of days ago, sort of refresh myself, and yeah, it's a decent enough film. It's far from my favorite in the MCU, but it does its job and it's entertaining enough. I also watched the Disney Plus shows that featured the other two, WandaVision, Miss Marvel, and yeah, they're fairly good, if flawed shows. That again, not my favorite stuff in the MCU, but certainly enjoyable. So I was curious to see this, especially with the body swap aspect of it, and with Mia DaCosta at the helm, of course, directed the recent Candyman. Yeah, I was certainly curious for this. But does the film actually deliver on the potential fun of its body swap premise? Let's find out. So in the film, we see Darben, a Kree leader, get a hold of a device known as a quantum band, which has the power to open up jump points across the galaxy. However, when Darben uses this device, the light-based powers of Carol Danvers, Monica Rambeau, and Kamala Khan all become entangled and cause them to swap places with one another when they use their powers. So to get the bottom of this and put a stop to Darben's evil plans, the trio, affectionately nicknaming themselves the Marvels, set out on an adventure across the galaxy. So, yeah, there's been a lot of discussion online about this film. The usual crowd are riled up as always, and the MCU hardcore fanboys are on major defense damage control mode. So yeah, I'm just sort of sat here in the middle of all this. I'm sat here watching the film, and I'm just thinking, yeah, it's not bad actually. It's obviously nowhere near the death of cinema that crowd are making out to be, but it's certainly nowhere near the masterpiece that the MCU shills are hyping it up as. But yeah, it's not a bad film. It's a fairly fun time at the cinema. Nothing amazing, but it does its job, much like the first Captain Marvel. Okay, so first thing to note is that this is far and away the shortest film in the MCU, running at a fairly tight hour 45 minutes, and yeah, it's not a long investment or anything, and yeah, the pacing does feel fairly tight, and it doesn't overstay its welcome or anything. It's a fairly decent paced little cosmic adventure. Although saying that, it definitely feels like there are sort of scenes missing because like the pacing at times can feel a little quick. It certainly is at times rushing itself. There's probably a longer cut of this out there somewhere because it definitely needed like about 15-20 minutes worth just to sort of get like a bit more breathing room for some of it. Like it moves at a brisk enough pace by and large, but yeah, it definitely could have benefited maybe from being a bit longer. But this shorter runtime is used in service of a, sort of some very wacky, silly ideas, notably the body swap aspect, which is weirdly a lot more inconsistently used than I thought. Like it's brought up and shown very frequently, but sort of the logic of how and when the body swaps like happen is kind of inconsistent. But in saying that, it's a decent enough concept, and it's utilized fairly well for in some creative little action scenes. Notably, one towards the end of the film in a planet made up mostly of water, and a very energetic one in Kamala Khan's living room. I thought that was a really fun little action scene. Very dynamic camera there and fun choreography. Yeah, all that stuff is utilized very well in the action, and even outside of that, there are some certainly some very wacky and silly concepts here at play. Notably, there's a segment on a planet where the people communicate only in song. I know a certain group of people are going to absolutely despise that, but it's weirdly a fun and creative idea that works very well when it's actually on display here. And there's a subplot which builds to a very interesting payoff with a needle drop I was not prepared for at all. I, I, so yeah, it's a decent enough sort of wacky, silly little cosmic adventure, and it helps as well that the dynamic of the three leads is fairly strong. I thought Brie Larson, Fiona Paris, and Iman Vellani all had real strong chemistry, and their dynamic shone through, and I was certainly engaged in the trio. Again, maybe some aspects of the relationship could have had a little more room to breathe, as mentioned with the earlier in regards to runtime. But that their relationship is very fairly well developed, and I was engaged in it, and I like they had real chemistry. Brie Larson in particular seems to be a lot more energetic in this one. Seems to have actually been given some level of direction for once, and yeah, this is actually the most fun I've had with this portrayal of the character, so that's certainly something. But really, the standout of the three is Villani. Yeah, she brings her really delightful, charming fangirl energy that she brought to Kamala Khan in her own show, and brings that into the film. And yeah, she is easily the scene stealer. And there's the supporting cast here, fine. I mean, I liked the stuff with Kamala's family, but the subplot therein just sort of feels like it's kind of there, so they're they're doing something. Same with Nick Fury, like I like Sam Jackson a lot. Yeah, he clearly loves playing this character and having a lot of fun. But yeah, you can definitely feel like he's sort of like being written in this sort of out of obligation, rather than having an actual like genuinely compelling place to take his character. But I mean, honestly, that has nothing on how pointless and forgettable the actual villain is, Darban. Jesus Christ. This is easily one of the worst villains in the franchise. Like, we're talking Malekith level here. Like, her motivations are, like, uh, at best, vaguely explained, and at worst, just non existent. For the life of me, I cannot remember what motivated her and what she was actually trying to achieve. She is such a nothing burger of a villain, and And the Zoe Ashton is clearly trying to do something with the non-existent material she has to work with, but yeah, she's just such a dull, empty vessel of a villain that really just serves as a plot device rather than an actual compelling character. And I mean, so by and large, the character dynamics are alright, but it's kind of hit or miss. And I mean, as I said, the action's pretty fun as well. You can tell Nia DaCosta is having fun bringing some energy to it. Like there does, like there is a certain semblance of a creative vision here. Like obviously they don't commit, this is MCU after all, but yeah, by and large, it did feel like she was putting her voice in some ideas that she thought would make for creative and fun scenes. And it all builds to a final act, which does certainly have interesting implications for the MCU. Yeah, it's not bad overall. I have my big issue here though is the CGI. It gets pretty rough, especially in the final act. Like nothing as bad as like say in Black Panther. Nothing on MODOK level, thankfully, but yeah, there were plenty of shots that looked incredibly ropey, and this issue just sort of amplified in the final act. And yeah, that's about what I have to say about the Marvels. This is a fun enough little breezy caper that is entertaining. There's plenty to like about it, but it's definitely flawed. That's for sure. This is like leagues better than Love and Thunder. That's for sure. But by and large, it was entertaining enough. There were moments I I did chuckle at, and I did overall have a decent time overall. It's just it's not going to be something that I particularly remember much about. It's not going to be one that sticks with me too long, but it does its job. It's entertaining enough, and overall, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. And yeah, there is a mid-credit scene. I think you know by now what or who is in it, but it certainly has interesting implications for a particular upcoming project. And yeah, that's my thoughts on the Marvels. Let me know down in the comments. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? Where does this sort of lie among the MCU for you? And what do you think about the implications of how the film leaves off? Let me know all that down in the comments. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed. Don't forget the subscribe button if you're new, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss an upload.